Welcome to another episode of Talking Awe. Glad you could tune in tonight. This week, I'm going to talk about city meetings. And why not? Cheshire TV's been covering city council meetings for 4 years now, I believe. 4 years now. We've been covering committee meetings for about six months, maybe. So, committee meetings are where everything happens. City council, usually it goes in, the motion's read, the committee chair stands up, moves the intent of the committee, city council votes on it. Most of the time, fairly simple, easy. Whoa, sorry. Let's do that. Get the right switches pushed. It's usually pretty cut and dry by the time it gets to city council. Everything's been hashed out by the councilors and the committees, and things move quick. Sometimes they don't. For instance, no, I'm not doing the Bearcat. I want to talk about the dog park. The dog park has already been voted on city council to be at the site of the old Y camp on Arch Street. Arch Street, Bent Court. That's already been decided. Already voted on by the city council. For some reason, it's back in committee again. And there was a session of public input at this past MSFI committee. All right. I get the argument. Nobody wants the dogs near their place. Nobody wants the extra traffic of a dog park. And for a simple idea that came about from a group of citizens who wanted a dog park, they said, look, we will raise all the money for this dog park. And from what I understand now, it was 3 phases. $10,000 phase, a $15,000 phase, and then another $10,000 phase, equaling $35,000. The original plan called for entry to the park be via Bent Court, the existing driveway, the existing parking lot, which will probably hold 20 cars, maybe 30. That was the plan. Now all of a sudden there's a proposal for, wait a minute, we need to not have that kind of traffic on Bent Court. Let's go another route and we'll put a driveway in off Arch Street, right there by the big field and the big Y. We'll put a driveway in there. We'll put a big parking lot, big paved parking lot, and it'll only add $200,000 to the cost of the project. Wow. If I was that group, immediately you would think, there's no way we'll have a dog park. $200,000 because the city's going to tell us that we need to build a huge parking lot, fence it all in. The city has taken a $35,000 project and transformed it into a $235,000 project. Now remember this. I want you to write this down. On this date, February 27th, Rick Blood said, in no uncertain terms, even though the city has said that it will contribute absolutely nothing to this dog park. In the end, mark my words, you'll see city funds go into this dog park. Whether it's just a simple fact that they're going to pay a city employee to police the dog park and clean it up and mow the grass. If a city employee is mowing the grass at the dog park, that is city taxpayer funds paying for part of the dog park. And I'm only asking you to write this down and remember this, so the next time I run for mayor, you can say, oh yeah, you know, Rick Blood was right. And the city doesn't always do what it says it's going to do. Just wait. That's all I'm asking. Just wait and see. And you'll see. A lot of the argument has to do with, you know, and it's this is what seriously kills me about the people that are fighting this. Come up with something, some ammunition that is real and that you can substantiate. You can't say, oh, if we put a dog park in there, it's going to ruin the water system. It's not. Let me tell you something. The only living thing on this earth that doesn't crap in the woods is the Pope. And I bet if he was in the woods and had to go, he would. Bears, squirrels, deer, ducks, pigeons, crows, turkeys, sparrows, robins. I'm sure I'm missing something, but I can't name every species. Look around our world. Our world is filled with poop. And not just in Washington and Concord. The woods are full of it. You can't take 2 steps in the woods without stepping on some kind of poop. Whether it's fresh or whether it's been there for 100 years. So get over the whole poop polluting the water system. One gentleman actually said he compared the dog park with a working dairy farm. Think about it. It's not even a comparison. You're going to compare 20 or 30 dogs for a half an hour to an hour a day to full-time dairy herd of cattle? Or herd of dairy cattle? Whatever. Knight's Farm must have had 100, 150 to 200 cows. And they lived there. I've never, ever been on a working farm, whether it be a dairy farm or a cattle ranch. When I was driving truck out west, the farmers do not follow those animals around with plastic bags picking up their poop. The fact is if you want, you have to set rules, you have to enforce rules. Sure. If you own a dog, you should be ready and responsible enough that when your dog craps, to pick it up. That's common sense. Or else don't own a dog. If you can't pick up after your dog, you're obviously not responsible enough to own a dog. Go ahead, dog lovers. Hate me. I don't care. When I was a kid, I had a dog. It was all the dog I needed. I was 5 years old. I got this dog in a picnic basket from my grandparents. Apparently, it was just their way to piss my parents off. Look, you've got a dog to take care of. But shut up, it makes your kid happy. The dog turned out, I mean, it was a cute little puppy, popped out of the picnic basket. I was all happy, you know. And we started feeding it and taking care of it. And, you know, the thing was a German Shepherd Great Dane mix. It grew to stand about 3.5 feet tall, maybe 4 feet tall at the shoulders, and weighed about 85 pounds. Huge dog. Eventually, you know, my parents said the dog got too big for the city. Kind of like we lived in the city or something. And remember, this is back in the 70s. So Keene was by far a city. But it was too small of an area that we lived in to have a huge dog like that. So we gave it away. We gave it to, I think one of my cousins took it. They lived way out on a back road in Chesterfield. I don't think they'd had the dog for a month. The dog got hit by a truck on that back road in Chesterfield. The dog might have been safer in Keene. But look, back then, we picked up the poop because the dog pooped in our own yard. If you took the dog for a walk and it went on the neighbor's lawn, you picked it up. That's part of owning a dog. It's like owning a baby. You put food in one end, you clean up the other end. Simple. So the whole water contamination stuff because of the dog park is hogwash. That should not even enter into it. Like I said, what should enter into it is the fact the city has said we will not spend taxpayer money on this dog park. Okay. I'll be quiet. City's made its choice. It's something that they think the citizens need. No taxpayer money will be involved in it. This little dog park committee group will take care of everything. All right, we'll see. We will see. But I'll be right here to say I told you so. All right. Now that the whole dog park thing's racked up, let me talk about the meetings. Because some of these meetings, they're just getting long and overdrawn. For some of the viewers at home that start to watch these things, of course, the way that we run things here at Cheshire TV is on Thursday evenings, immediately following No Spin with Randy Filio and Dave Richards, immediately following their show, because they're a show that's about what's happening in Keene. We figure people must watch that. So immediately following that, on Thursday evenings, you will see the PLD meeting, Planning, Licenses, and Development Committee meeting, followed by Municipal Services, Infrastructure, MSFI, Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee. Those are on Thursday night. If those are both 2-hour meetings, they start following No Spin at 8 o'clock is when the meetings start. So at 2 hours apiece, you're watching TV till midnight. At the very least. And I say at the very least because lately some of these meetings have been going almost 4 hours long. And it's not because they've got such a huge agenda. It's because they've got, I don't even know if it's really controversial stuff. But people get up and speak. Now, here's my tip. If you are going to a public meeting to speak, write your notes down, practice at home, bring it in under 5 minutes. The problem with the whole deal is people are going to city meetings and they're trying to spend an hour trying to convince the committee to see things their way. Look, if you haven't wrapped up your point within the first 5 minutes, I've lost interest in anything you've got to say. Unless it absolutely pertains to the matter at hand. And the same, I'm not just talking to the public input people. I'm talking to the counselors too, the committee members. Issue at hand. And right off the top, cut the whole 5 minutes worth of, I'd like to thank city staff for all their work and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. There's no need to thank them. It's their job. It's their job. They don't need a special thanks from every counselor that starts to speak. Let's tighten these meetings up because, people at home don't want to spend their entire Saturday afternoon watching meetings. We listen to somebody get up and say the same thing over and over and over again in 18 different ways. But they're still saying the exact same thing. If you've got new information, that's one thing. But don't rehash old business. Don't give us your life story as to how you got to this point. We don't need it. We just need the facts. The facts with no embellishment. With no grandstanding. And another thing with the city councilors is don't spend 15 minutes telling us how you're going to vote and why you're going to vote that way. The whys may be important, but you don't need to, until the vote, you don't need to say how you're going to vote. And I don't understand why you would. I don't know. These meetings are getting horrendous. All right. Well, 8.5 minutes left. I might have time. Something else has been really bugging me because I was at the last Planning, Licenses, and Development Committee meeting. And it's that time of year again. Here are my thoughts. If I wanted to, say, set up a little tent and a booth, table and such on Railroad Square and sell my pictures, I would have to request a license from the city council. And I'm sure that there would be a fee involved for doing business on city property. You see it all the time. I believe, it must have been between now and last October. A gentleman came to the city council with the proposal that he was going to open up a little kiosk type business on Main Street. We've seen it in the summertime when the hot dog vendors try and get permission to vend on the sidewalks. It's a huge hassle. I'm sure there's a fee. I'm not sure because I didn't check into it. But it seems to me that the city would go, well, the guy that came before a committee and wanted to open up his little kiosk type business was flatly denied. And here was the reasoning, if I remember right. It was the fact that because other businesses pay taxes on their business space, somebody can't just open up a little kiosk type business on the sidewalk because it's not fair to the people in the storefront businesses. You got that straight? You see where I'm at with this? You can't have a tabletop business on the sidewalk because it's not fair to business owners that pay taxes for their space. All right. Now that you've got that, when an establishment, I don't really want to name names, so I'll say, let's just say a bar, restaurant, bar, puts in their application to serve alcohol on the sidewalk, why are they not charged for that space? Every year, we grant a dozen or more licenses for establishments to serve alcohol on the sidewalk within the public right-of-way. Isn't that unfair to businesses that pay taxes on their space, that these people get to just add a whole chunk of space in the summertime? No, see, it's wrong. Not to mention the message that it sends to people that are visiting our community to see people sitting on the sidewalk drinking. No, and I know what you're saying. It adds an ambiance to have little establishments so where you can have a meal and drinks outside. It's different. That's different because what we get in Keene is we have sports bars that don't serve meals. And don't tell me that an order of cheese sticks and some bread is a meal. It's not. We get people just sitting at the outside tables, just drinking, carousing. At the same time, they want, a lot of places in the country are trying to ban cigarette smoking outdoors because it affects other people. I've never ever smoked a cigarette and got belligerent. Ever. I've never smoked an ounce of marijuana and got belligerent. Drunk people get belligerent. The city has to look at this kind of thing. I don't care if every bar owner in Keene is mad at the city of Keene. Let them close. We don't want to be a bar city anyway. Or maybe we do. Maybe that's the whole point. Give the hot dog vendor a hard time for selling chips and hot dogs on the sidewalk because there are other restaurants that pay taxes on their spaces. But you just let the bars, can't fit 100 people in your bar? That's all right. Wait till summertime. We'll give you an extra 50 seats for nothing. I want all you counselors, because this is coming up Thursday night at the council meeting. Think. And don't give me the crap about if you limit it to just establishments that serve food. I've heard, oh, well, we had that argument before, and then we had a hard time figuring out what the definition of food is. Stop being retarded. You don't need to know the definition of food to know the definition of a full meal menu. Appetizers, entrees, not hamburger and fries. I'm talking about legitimate restaurants. Yes, they should get seating outside so their customers can enjoy the outside air, have a glass of wine with their full meal. That's all. Just think, city councilors. Do your part. We're trying to be the healthiest community in the country, Vision 2020 and all that. Then put your foot down and show the people of this community that you want to make that dream come true. We don't need the alcohol on our streets. If people want to drink outside, let them stay home in their own yards. That's all. All right. Well, my time's just about up, so think about what I said. Don't let it get you down, but just think about what I said, and I'll be back next week. Peace.